These are the potatoes I have for Part B potato selection lab. So here I have my Yukon potatoes, and then I have my russet potatoes right here. And these are the Red Triumph potatoes, which I'm gonna start with these, and I'm gonna start pairing the Red Triumph potatoes and then come back with another video. These are the Red Triumph potatoes that have been paired by me, and you can tell that I got one that was a little bit smaller of a potato than this one, but both of these are paired, so now I'm gonna get these ready to boil. So here I have my paired Red Triumph potatoes, and now I'm gonna add my ½ teaspoon of salt now. And then I am going to continue on with the next steps. Now these potatoes are covered and there has been the proper amount of salt added to them, and now I'm gonna wait for these to come to a boil. Now you can see that these potatoes have been brought to a boil. These potatoes have been boiling for a while, so you can tell that it's pretty easy to stick a fork into here. As you can see, that portion just broke off, but I'm gonna take one of these potatoes out and set it aside. This is the Red Triumph potato that's been boiled, and then this one is the one that's been mashed, and I also added some milk to that and some butter as well. These are the russet potatoes, and they've been boiling for a while, so here you can see that it's pretty easy to puncture with a fork, so I'm going to remove one of them and then mash the other. This is the last portion for this entire lab, and so in here I have my Yukon potatoes, and I'm going to add my ½ teaspoon of salt in a second. So here I am doing that before bringing it to a boil. These are the Yukon potatoes that are boiling, so I'm gonna let this continue a little bit longer and then come back for the next part of the video. Okay, so these potatoes are pretty much done boiling at this point, and you can see that it's very easy to stick a fork in here, and you can see the little pieces that are coming off of it. So I'm going to drain this, and then I'm going to set one aside and then mash one according to the directions. Overall thoughts from completing this potato lab, I definitely enjoyed completing it, and I ended up sampling different types of potatoes at midnight when I had done this. And usually when I do food science labs, it's an all-day process, but that's fine by me because I don't even really look at these as homework, and I find them to be a lot of fun when I conduct these new experiments. But the task was to obtain different selections of potatoes, and so what I had done is that I paired each of the potatoes and I boiled each potato type separately, and then I placed them in a pan that contained just enough water to cover the potatoes. And I added a ½ teaspoon of salt, and then I covered and boiled those until they were easily penetrated with a fork, and then I drained and reserved half of the serving for the next steps. So then I ended up mashing some of the boiled potatoes that I had with a fork, and then I added 1 to 2 teaspoons of butter and also enough warm milk, and then I whipped them until they were light and fluffy, and then I was able to plate each type of potato and compare the results. I don't think I really ran into any issues with my lab, but some things that could have happened is maybe that not cooking the potatoes or not boiling the potatoes long enough could have happened, or maybe just making them a little bit too liquidy, like if you added too much milk or something. So I think that my lab went pretty well for this, and the results were what I had expected. As I said, I don't think I ran into any issues with mine. And I noticed too that the potatoes that I preferred both for the boiled and the mashed were the Yukon potatoes, and they're definitely an all-purpose potato, so I think that that definitely was a factor, and especially too that I just preferred the taste of the Yukon potatoes overall compared to the other ones. And so that was kind of my take on it. And I think that completing this lab was definitely helpful from reading the lecture notes in class because I got to sample them and truly observe what it's like to try different types of potatoes and to see what influences different types in potato selection because some potatoes are better for some uses than others. So it was very cool for me to find that out myself through an actual lab experiment.